Thank you for tuning in to the Transcend with Ann podcast. This episode is brought to you by our sponsors, BRC Insurance, the #1 insurance broker serving the Latino community in the Americas, and Savitol Virtual Assistants, serving business owners and insurance brokers across America. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Transcend with M. And I am super excited about the story that we have for you today and about the business that we will be showcasing. Susan is an amazing coach, and I cannot wait for you to hear her story, what she's been doing for the past few years, and how is she planning to accomplish, in the future and helping women achieve what they want to achieve in life. So welcome, Susan. I really appreciate your time being here today.
Thank you, Monica. I'm so happy to be here and I can't wait to see what we talk about.
Yes, for those that have been listening to us for a little while, they know that these conversations are completely organic and that sometimes it shifts into things that we weren't expecting. But before we get into all of that, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what is Susan's story?
Well, I'm an intuitive healer and a spiritual guide. I teach my clients how to really develop a deep interconnection with source energy within their heart system, and how to sustain that so that they're empowered. And that's part of a journey I had to go through myself. I had to move myself from feeling worthless to worthy. And so all these spiritual or mindfulness tools that I used for myself, I teach to my clients and get really fabulous results. So
that's awesome. And how did you come to become this healer? What is the story behind that? I'm really intrigued about learning your journey.
Well, I think, Monica, most people are, if they are awake, let's say, if they are becoming consciously aware, if they are growing and evolving their soul intentionally, right? Lots of people just kind of grow and evolve and don't realize that that's the important work we're here to do on planet Earth: grow and evolve, and not necessarily chase the money trap dream or whatever. I'm not saying I don't have money. Believe me, I love having money. But the real focus is connecting to source energy and being in that constant vertical vibration, if you will. And so the intuitive stuff, most everybody can access. They just have to be awake and aware. But for me, and most people, when you're born empathic, which I think a lot of people that do healing work, spiritual work are empathic. Sometimes people around you that don't understand that or have been shamed about their own empathy, right? Their own ability to intuit, don't like it when you show up kind of fully orbed as an empath or an intuitive or even a psychic. And I don't claim to be psychic, but so for me, from an early age, my mom, who always wanted to be this psychic, and she had intuition, didn't like that I did from a very early age. And now I know this in hindsight, and she's since crossed over. But growing up, so I was kind of squished, and I'm the oldest. So being the oldest and a girl, I was a rule follower: please my parents, please other people, don't listen to my intuition. But it was getting pretty loud. So fast forward to where I am now, and I went through a contentious divorce after 28 years of being married to another person that liked to squish me because he was, I didn't know it at the time, a narcissist, pretty heavy duty personality disorder. And so coming through the divorce, which is where I really had to tap into me, where I had to move myself from feeling worthless to feeling worthy of happiness, of joy, of love, of money, of whatever. My intuition like gazillionized, and all of a sudden I was wide open because my heart had been shattered. So, when we protect ourselves when we feel vulnerable, right? And so for people that are empathic and you're not actualizing that life purpose, we build up boundaries and barriers. And, for me, I felt like I was in a castle with a moat and, the drawbridge is up and nobody's going to hurt me.
Yeah.
But because of the divorce, it cracked me open. And all of a sudden I was able to hear intuitively, see intuitively. And so consequently, it helped me to heal myself from the inside out. And then that's what I do with clients. When they come, I'm listening on multiple levels of hearing the things that they want to tell you, but they don't want to say it out loud because then they might have to face their fears and deal with their anger or their sorrow or whatever, which, human beings don't necessarily like to do that. So.
Interesting. So how, I guess, a deeper question is how did you were able to identify that and take the next step towards the light?
My intuition. So I've been a spiritual quester all my life since it really kicked in my late teens, early 20s. And I didn't really know why, but I was fascinated with anything spiritual, different philosophies, world philosophies, not so much religion, but certain religions like the East Indian, the Hindu, the Vedas, and Buddhism and stuff like that. But I also was attracted and interested in, I was like a sponge. I just wanted to learn everything. So I was reading tons of metaphysical books. In my 20s, I studied with a couple of medicine women, and went to several channelers and psychics, just wanting to know who I am. Meanwhile, I was pursuing an acting career. So talk about feeling worthless, so I'm in the outer world trying to make myself perform literally, and being rejected constantly, which is just part and parcel of pursuing an acting career. And then the other piece of me was a spiritual quester. I was looking for and trying to find, and I found Marianne Williamson in the Course in Miracles. I did the course twice, 2 years in a row. I was reading, like I said, metaphysical stuff. So eventually I realized that my life purpose wasn't to be an actress, a performer in that way. My life purpose was to be a spiritual teacher and to grow my inner connection and grow my consciousness, my conscious awareness. And so that's been I've been dedicated to that the last 20 years. I've been, fully dedicated. I don't do anything else. But I've been teaching metaphysical principles for 30 years.
That's crazy. So how, I guess I'm so intrigued, right? Because I did interview a Reiki healer before, but not someone with your background. And I'm very intrigued about what are the tools, like how did this all come to be, and what does it take from you to be able to provide that to people? I guess I'm very curious.
So I'm going to give your listeners a gift in just a minute of how you can, because you mentioned Reiki, how you can utilize energy, and anybody can do it. Any person can do it. There was a spiritual master. Let's see. Oh, his name was Jesus, who said, "You can do exactly what I do." And everybody twisted all that and thought that they had to do it with him, through him, but that's not true. Anybody can do these principles. You just have to be aware and open. And I was just working with one of my longstanding clients who's just amazing. And the way you access this stuff is you've got to surrender. And she said, I'm surrendering and accepting. And within less than 24 hours, certain obstacles in her life were removed easily through the power of surrendering. And the surrendering isn't I have a 3-month-old puppy, and he surrenders to my older dog by laying on his back going, okay, with his belly up. That's not the kind of surrender we need spiritually. The kind of surrender that helps us grow is surrendering our human mind and the wanting to create solutions and problem solve and control and protect. We surrender that mind and drop into our heart, where our wisdom resides all the time. So the solutions to any issue is within the heart, and how you and why it's in the heart is because that's to me, that's the portal to spirit. The heart, not the mind. And so in surrendering deeply into that wisdom, then you begin to hear. And this takes practice. I've been meditating and journaling all my life. And sorry, I have a dog.
That's okay.
And
they want to be part of this. It's part of destiny. Yeah. It's all right.
There's a gardener outside. So anyway, surrendering to the inner access we have at all of us to the connection to source, or whatever you want to call it, God, spirit, universe, whatever, is the first step. And then accepting that we of our small selves can do nothing, right? Accepting that all the things that are happening in the outer world, Syria and Turkey are devastated, the Ukraine and Russia, it's horrible. But surrendering and accepting, not accepting that, oh, that's happening over there, but accepting that we can't do anything except surrender. Yeah. In that moment of surrender and acceptance, that's where the infinite presence of source comes in and says, oh, but you can do this.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do that. And that's how that's how energy flows. So cycling back to Reiki and energy. So we are human beings, anything on the planet, actually. I am a big believer in Chinese medicine and acupuncture. I've also seen Reiki healers, but Chinese medicine, we have meridians, or chi. We have meridians that have energy systems that flow in and through our body. And when we're out of balance, that's when we begin to develop a discomfort or dis-ease. But knowing that we are an energy system and an energy channel, and we're channeling the energy of source, it's a source energy. That simple acceptance, if you will, begins to align us with the energy of our higher power. And in that, then all things are possible. Yep. Healing is possible. So So here's the gift I'm going to give your listeners right now. You want to do it with me, Monica?
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. So you're going to rub your hands together really fast until they start to feel warm, right? You're creating friction in your hands, right? But this also opens the energy portals of the hands that have healing qualities. Now, slowly pull your hands apart, just a couple inches, and notice, do you feel energy between your hands, Monica?
Right here. Yeah.
So this is the power. I got chills. This is the energy of source, the healing energy that aligns with all the other things that help to heal. So what you're going to do now, Monica and everybody else, you're going to just put your hands a couple inches above your head, And you're going to just ask that anything, any negativity, anything that is unlike love, I use that phrase, anything, you're just going to gently pull it off as you move your hands. You're going to pull that energy off. The hands are going to accept it. And you're just going to do a scan all the way down your head, your shoulders, your neck, wherever you feel disease or discomfort or tightness, but it's also going to pull out energy and just take it all the way down your legs, and when you get down to your feet, just put focus your palms toward the earth and send that negativity or that yucky stuff, whatever you just pulled off, down into the earth, because Mother Earth loves to support us by just mulching all that garbage. And then when you're done, wipe your hands off. You don't need to have any of that yucky, icky, negative, dirty stuff.
Oh, right.
So there you go. How do you feel after that?
Now you're going to see me doing this all day. No, it felt good. It was a little weird when I put them over here.
Right. So you've got a lot of stuff going on in your head right now.
Well, you kind of like feel a little bit of like, I remember doing this exercise long years and years ago where like you will do that and then you'll try to pull a string.
Oh. Yeah.
I don't remember where or when I did that, but it felt like that I was just pulling a string.
Cool. And do you feel the string now?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Oftentimes when I teach this in class too, but when I have people do that, afterwards they feel very light and tingly. So the tingles, everybody, is because you've activated that energy system I was talking about, the chi.
That's great. I'm going to practice it again later.
Okay.
While I'm just like completely focused, and I'm going to practice it again and see what I experience, and I'll shoot you a message.
Oh, fun. I love it. I love it.
That's amazing. So tell me a little bit about the experiences. Like, what have we seen, from clients or people that you have helped? Like, what have we seen on them? How they come in? How do they leave? How do they heal? What's the journey? I would like to know, like, experiences that people have had. And I think it's exciting for you to see all these changes happening in other people. So
it's such an honor. It's such an honor to witness. Yeah. It's an honor to witness. I work mostly with women, but women that feel like they're broken beyond repair, start to piece together the parts of themselves that they didn't realize either were missing or they had disowned. Right. And it's just fabulous to see that. And like I said, that was my personal experience that I had to heal myself.
Yeah.
So as you were asking that question, I have one client that came to mind who came to me very committed to work with me and do transformation. And I only work with clients that are committed. I've had a couple people come in and they're kind of PMB, and I have to fire them because I don't have time. I personally am in it for the long haul, and I'm not in it to just have somebody think they're going to get a magic pill if they come and see me. Because this takes work.
It takes
transformation takes work.
Yeah.
Transmutation takes work. So this one client came to me, and she was unhappy in her marriage, and she's got 2 kids, and one is challenged, and just her energy was just low. And within the first 2 sessions, and I require like 10-session commitment, the first 2 sessions, her energy shifted immediately because she was a sponge. And what I saw was so when people come to see me, like I said, I listen on several different levels, and I often hear what they're not saying. And so in order to address the thing they're not saying, I create in the moment, spontaneously, a guided meditation for them to follow. And this woman, we did a spontaneous guided meditation, and afterwards, it was like there was a different person in that chair.
Wow.
And she was like, I feel so amazing. And
Mhm.
so what I found out, I didn't know, like on her third session coming, and this was, I think we were seeing each other every 2 weeks, she decided to go to AA.
Oh.
She had she just was done drinking, went to
Mhm.
AA. She's clean and sober for a long time now. Um, but she didn't realize that that was what she was hiding behind until she went. And it was after 2 sessions, and she says to me, you're the one. I didn't know, you know, I didn't know that there was an alcohol addiction. I didn't get anything, but I did get that her spirit was slowly dying in a way. And
Mhm.
she's bright and shiny now, and she's more able to handle her children, and especially her son
Yeah.
and her life. And she's happier. She's developing things she wants to do and go on trips and stuff like that. She's
That's great.
fabulous.
That's great. That's great
Yeah,
to hear.
yeah. And I
That's
have
great.
another client, my longstanding client, who, she always laughs when she listens to my podcasts or interviews, because she's like, "You talked about me again, didn't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, but you gave me permission." She's been with me for a few years, and we started right before the lockdown
Mhm.
pandemic thing. And this woman was going through divorce, and she couldn't figure. She was miserable. She was disempowered. She
Mm.
didn't have a voice. She didn't even have a lawyer, a decent lawyer,
Wow.
that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, honey, I've done some of this. So let's get the practical, let's get you a lawyer.
Mhm.
These are the questions you need to ask. This is what you need to make sure. This is what you need to figure out, what, monetarily, what you want, and then figure out what you want to
Yeah.
give and what you're willing to take, that kind of stuff. But then let's do this inner work so that you feel worthy
Yeah.
and can love and respect yourself, because she spent all her life disempowered from her
Yeah.
family of origin. But then she's going through divorce, and then she had a physical episode that meant she couldn't drive for a few months, and then her sister goes into the hospital for surgery, and finds out we my client finds out that her sister had stage 4 cancer,
Wow.
and she's on a ventilator in a hospital during COVID, and my client can't go see her sister, and then she's the one that has the power of attorney and has to pull the plug, and the sister dies. And
Oh.
then there was like a whole, I mean, and then her mother, who just turned 99, is still alive. It's like, and she kept
Yeah.
coming to me going, when is it over? When is it? I mean, this was the tsunami of life experiences. By the way, she can drive
Right.
now, and and she says to me,
Wow.
I know how to love and respect myself now, and I didn't even know that was an option when I grew up, that how to love and respect myself. She goes, I didn't know.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, so I have chills as I talk about her. She's just one of my stellar, what do you call them, poster children. She's just
Yeah.
fabulous. And yeah.
I mean, I cannot imagine. I mean, we all go through our journeys, right? But
Hmm.
that time frame was so difficult for so many people that I can never complain about that specific time period that we all lived in, because I'm alive, my family's alive, like there were so many people that lost so much dear to them. And listening to this, it just reminds me of like those images that we will see on the TV, and how grateful we need to be for
Yes.
just being here, like we don't know what really is going on in somebody else's lives, and sometimes we're quick to judge, right? Which is very,
Right.
very sad.
Well, and I have to watch myself because judgment is one of the things that my
Yeah.
mind kind of automatically clicks into and it trips me
Mhm.
up. So I try and be very vigilant about that. I think a lot
Yeah.
of people, it's how we stay safe. It's like, okay, is
Yeah.
that person safe? What is that going on with that person? What do I think about them? You know. But I have another story, Monica, of
Mhm.
my uncle passed away last year, and I went with my cousin and my uncle's wife to
Yeah.
the funeral home to plan the memorial, because I do memorials. And the woman, the funeral director that came in to help us figure stuff out, um, sat down, and intuitively I was like, oh, something's going on with her. And she was happy, she was fine.
Yeah.
And we were kind of talking about, do we wear masks at the table, or,
Yeah.
can we talk? And she's like, don't worry about it. I've already had COVID. And we're like, oh, yeah, sorry. She said, no, I have a story. So she and her husband, the love of her life, they decided to move from a house that they really loved in one area of Ventura County to another
Mhm.
house so it could be closer to where their kids were now living. And so they bought this house. It was their dream house. They're going to just, stay forever in that house. And as they're moving in, and she was
Mhm.
changing her business, she was moving from one funeral
Yeah.
place to maybe another. And she goes, they finally they're starting to move in, and she and her husband get COVID.
Mm.
So now they're in the brand new house, both with COVID, in separate rooms, and neither of them are able to take deep breaths. And so her husband says, I got to go to the hospital. I'm not breathing. And one of the kids takes him to the hospital. She doesn't go to the hospital. 2 days later, he dies. And meanwhile, she's recovering from the COVID where she was having a hard time breathing at home. And here she is. And there was a couple other things,
Yeah.
horrible, horrible things that happened exactly in that 1 year time frame during
Mhm.
COVID. And here she is sitting at the table with us. And she said, I said, how do you even, I think one other person died that was close in her family. I said, how do you get up in the morning? She goes, I make myself, and I make myself come to work, and I make myself serve the people that I'm serving because
Mhm.
I've been through it. I know how horrible it is. This woman was the most compassionate heart, having gone
Mhm.
through horrible stuff and helping us,
Yeah.
in our grief system. So you never know. You
You never
never,
know.
ever know.
You never know. I think, it is so important that, what I know that different people believe in different things, right? But I
Mhm.
do believe on it in energy, in the spiritual sense, on making sure that you are connected with your mind, soul, heart, body, everything. Like I do believe in that. And um I don't consider that I have, this amazing, like a relationship or whatever. But I do recognize the importance of it, and I try to practice it as much as I can. How do you think people can be more in tune and more and practice a little bit more of, self compassion, self love, um, healing with themselves with the practices that you can teach them?
So I am really big on. I would show you my my wall here. I'm really big on affirmations, but not like affirmations that you just kind of say over and over because yeah,
Yeah.
well, kind of. But big, strong, heavy affirmations that you drop into your heart. Like I have one here. I
Mhm.
love myself and others beyond measure. No judgments or
Mhm.
strings attached.
Okay.
And I drop that into my heart, and allow it to seep into the belief systems that cause me to judge.
Yeah.
It's like making a cup of tea, right? You can't just boil the water, put the tea bag in, or you got to let it steep. And it's the same with affirmations. The first
Yeah.
time you drop them in, they're not going to necessarily take. But affirmations are really helpful, and I teach my clients that and my students. I journal. So journaling is very important, not to just say, I met this guy and it's so great, but to Monica, do you do that? Huh? Because you're laughing.
No, I'm gonna show you something. No, I have this thing. It's called Letters to the Universe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny that you're saying that, because it has things like, dear universe. And then I go like, what signs will the universe show me so that I know my desire is on this way? Like, it's just, little things like that. And you like mentioning that, it just brought me to like, this sounds like my every morning.
Yes. Well, and that's important. Every morning to journal. It's important to do these things every day. It has to be consistent
Yeah.
for the belief systems that we all have, from family of origin or wounding and trauma, to kind of be eradicated. And so journaling is one way to do that, by becoming so that you can get the garbage, the story out of your head. And then you can begin to feel your heart system and listen to the wisdom, right? I journal every day in the morning. I have a spiritual practice I do for an hour and a half every day in the morning. And then the other thing is, let's see, affirmations, journaling. Then there's also, I have guided meditations. I do, like I mentioned, with clients. So I do guided meditations, but meditation is important. Personally, I need to just meditate with some quiet music, but a lot of people who haven't been meditating need to have guidance. And so listening to a practitioner of some kind that resonates with you, to lead you into guided meditations and lead you into the depth of your awareness, so to speak, is very important. And so all my guided meditations that I did a year. Oh, I got to tell you this. So I did, when pandemic lockdown happened, I started a 14-day daily meditation on Facebook, whatever. Okay. And that got such great response that I started doing a weekly Monday morning meditation. Well, I stopped doing that for a year because I needed to take care of myself. And I am restarting a monthly guided meditation group that'll be starting in March. But and that will be, people can join the group, and then they can email me what it is they would like to have in the meditation. And so I'll record a meditation with different people's kind of prayer requests, if you will, little ideas. And then that recording will be theirs to listen to for that month. And then the next month we'll do a different recording. We do a different, but all my guided meditations are on an app called Insight Timer. And it's a great app to learn how to meditate if you don't know how. And there's tons of practitioners that are on there now that have guided meditations, and they're really, really awesome. So, but all of that is condensed down to, developing a spiritual toolbox, if you will, in my book. I have a book called Live an Empowered Life, a 30-Day Journey book. And I created it so that every day you're journaling, or you're working with an affirmation, or you're getting out of your house and walking in nature. And during the course of it, the intention is to dig deep to find the roots of some of the beliefs that are keeping you stuck. To face your fears, really important to face your fears. Lots of people don't want to do it. Hence, my previous client, I shared her story, hence the drinking, she didn't want to see her fears. And oftentimes when we face our fears, we find the better pieces of ourselves, right? We go, oh my God, I didn't realize that really juicy, lovely piece of me was hiding behind that fear, which was the fear always is trying to keep us safe, right? But once you excavate those negative emotions like fear and guilt and
Mhm.
anger and stuff that people don't want to deal with, then you get to see the truth of who you really are, and then you get to live from that. So in my book, we also do at some point um, we reset your life purpose.
Okay.
So it's a good book. You don't have to do it in 30 days. I realized, I'm like, let's get it done 30 days. And I have people that did, and they're like, Susan, it's taking me 40. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. Just do it
That's funny.
as long as you finish the book, as long as you
Right,
do it consistently. So it's a
right.
workbook. I remember one of my friends, when I first sent them a copy, they're like, oh, I can't wait to read your book. I was like, oh, uh, you're going to
Yeah.
have to do work. She's like, what?
Yeah.
And she read
I
the
would love
first,
to do it. I'm gonna get it. I'm
this
gonna
woman
love
read
I
the first
will
two
love.
pages and she said, I don't want to do it. I'm not doing it. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I mean it's not the book. It's what can come out of it that you are is the unknown, right? That you are afraid of coming out, or what you really know in your unconscious that you don't want to come out.
Exactly. Exactly. The day I realized I had to actually divorce my husband, that my marriage was really over, the day I finally accepted it,
Mm-hmm.
I went to see a masseuse because I was going to learn how to take better care of myself. And
Yeah.
she had Deepak Chopra on doing affirmations on her
Oh,
whatever music thing. And so I
yeah.
put my face in the cradle of the massage table, and I'm
Mhm.
hearing Deepak Chopra say, I trust the unknown. I'm like, I don't know. Whoa, I don't trust anything. I trust the unknown. I relinquish the known. I'm like, holy
Mhm.
moly, I can't do this. And then he says, and I live in infinite possibilities. And so for an entire hour, as this woman's working on my knots, I release, I trust the unknown. I relinquish the known. I live in infinite possibilities. And that's a fallback mantra for me now. I
Nice.
trust the unknown. The unknown, through the course of my life, when I'm
Yeah.
able to really just be present, always leads me to where a better yet to be. Always.
Mhm. That's great. That's great. And I think we always are seeking for that will open that door of, happiness, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it comes in a lot of different ways as well. But I think, there is no journey that is more scary than the journey of the self, right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's sometimes like that book, Letters to the Universe, is a workbook as well. And I went away for 2 weeks, so I haven't touched it in like 2.5 weeks. I came back and I was like, I gotta put myself together, I gotta clean the house, I gotta do all these things before I end up like immersed on that again, because now I'm like a little bit disconnected and I need to reel myself back in. And it's like, I don't want to cry for like 3 hours again.
I hear you. I totally hear you. I
But
totally hear you. And
it's worth it. That's all I can say. That it's totally worth it.
well, so I'm going to give you and everybody else that's listening, as long as you're intending to complete the task that you've set
Yeah.
for yourself, I'm going to give you permission to take some time off. Because sometimes uh, I have another client who was starting. Oh, I was doing a book study on my book, and
Yeah.
the first, it was like an 8-week thing or a 6-week thing, and the first week was so confronting for her. Like I said, this other woman wasn't even going to
Mm-hmm.
do it. She got sick,
Oh,
and so she couldn't come the next week because she decided she was sick. And
yeah.
so I called her. I said, "You committed to this. You're coming." Well, it's just, I don't want to look at that stuff. I said, I understand. Nobody wants to look at that shit. Oh, sorry.
That's
But
okay. You can swear. It's fine.
so the truth is that when we do, we get to the other side of it, right? So
Yes.
if you want to take a little time off, that's okay, as long as you honor the agreement you made with your soul to
Mm-hmm.
know yourself better, to
Yeah.
really know yourself and have a connection to a higher power, your higher self. Because we've
Mm-hmm.
all made that commitment, everybody, even though we don't even know you know, we've made that commitment. So as long as you honor your commitment to yourself,
Yeah.
your higher self, then take a break and go back.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows, maybe you already got out of it, the practice what you needed, and there's, you know, a different practice to also develop. I don't know.
Right. Right. We never know, right? Every day is a little bit different, but we just try our
Yeah.
best every day. That's all we can do. So, Susan, where people can find you, how they can reach out to you, do you have like a copy of the book you can show us?
Oh yeah.
Where
Well,
can
I should have had.
where they can get in
Let me
touch?
get a copy of the book,
Perfect.
and um, everybody can find me at Susan Burrell, BURRELL.com. And this is the book. It's the book. You can see all the, this is because I taught out of the book, but it's Live an Empowered Life, a 30-day journey. And the book is interactive with my website. So it's not only just you're doing affirmations, you're also prompted to go to the website to listen to a guided meditation specific for the section of the book that you're working.
Mhm.
You're also prompted to go to watch videos on how to do a mind map to create
Yeah.
your life purpose, or a video on how to do EFT, which is emotional freedom technique. It's tapping, and the tapping is I
Yeah.
found important, phenomenal for neutralizing. I used it during divorce to neutralize the rage I was experiencing,
Mm-hmm.
so that I could just think straight, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, the book's interactive, but when they go to my website, susanburrell.com, you can find out about the meditation group that we're going to do. But there's also a link at the bottom of each page to the Insight Timer app, and it'll take you directly to my guided
Mm-hmm.
meditation
Perfect.
area. So you don't have to search or hunt, but you can. And but also to my YouTube channel, because I'm a podcaster as well, and I had a radio show
Mhm.
for a few years. That, and
Nice.
all of those things are on YouTube. But you can also go on the website and listen to the latest, greatest podcast that I've done. And the podcast
Awesome.
is called Empowering Chats with Susan Burrell. So I
Very
got a
nice.
lot of spinning plates, but it's a good resource website, I
Yeah.
think.
No, that's amazing. And I will make sure to add it to my list to listen to. That's the least we can do, right? To support each other and to learn,
Thank you.
because I
Thank you so
am
much.
extremely new to all these spiritual journey things that, but good things. We have friends in good places that are always, empowering us to do the work.
Yes, yes. Well, and here's the thing is that we don't have to do it alone. You know,
Right.
I tell that to my clients all the time when they come in. Look, you're not
Yeah.
alone now. You got me,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and I often, throughout the course of my spiritual journey, I have created support groups. I
Hmm.
call them circles.
Perfect.
Spiritual circles. When I was pursuing acting, I created a circle with a group of people, and we were going to pursue our acting career, but we ended up reading all the metaphysical books together and discussing them. And so, you know, having a group of like-minded people
Hmm.
to go on your journey with you is really important, or even
That's
just one
amazing.
friend.
Yeah. Even if it's just one person, I think it does
Mhm.
help. It does help a lot because
Yeah.
then you have accountability, right? It's
Right.
accountability it increases by having more people around you that is doing the same thing.
But there's
When you don't
also
have, yeah.
there's all, I'm sorry, Monica, but there's all accountability. Yes. But there's also, we all have a need to be heard, seen and heard.
Mhm.
And so having somebody who can listen with an open heart and be compassionate
Yeah.
is important, because I find with myself and
Hmm.
my clients that if I can just get the story out of my mouth, if I can just say, hey, this is what I'm feeling, and have somebody
Yeah.
really hear me, then I don't need to talk about the story. I don't even need to live the story anymore. It can be done.
Yeah.
So just developing that where people are reflecting to you your best self,
Mhm.
and not no advice. If you create a circle, no advice.
Yeah.
You're not doing it so somebody else can tell you what to do. You're doing it so you can give yourself the answers and solutions.
I love it. I love it. Well, Susan, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing all you are and what you do. And I cannot wait to do my homework and share the story with everybody else out there, just because I think it's so amazing, right? That when you can help and you can experience that yourself. So really appreciate it. For those looking into other ways of achieving that higher power, whatever it is that you believe on, Susan, it's an amazing person. She can certainly help you. Many years of experience. And please, let's just make sure that we continue on this journey together, because you don't have to do it alone. So thank you, Susan, so much for being here today.
Thank you, Monica. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you to our guest, and we appreciate you listening and watching today. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Transcend with M on Instagram, at Monica Dwani on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and watch a repeat of this episode in our YouTube channel. Remember, keep resilient, keep growing, and keep being empowered. We will see you next week.